Yo, 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 this is Mr. O. What's up, Mr. O here, and today we're gonna learn about relations and function, domain and range. We're gonna try to identify if a given relation is a function from a graph using vertical line tests. We're going to identify the domain and range um, from a given graph. At the same time, we will try to evaluate them from a graph also. Okay, so identify the domain and range. Before we start with the domain, remember we're talking about here the x values, and x-axis goes sideways. So we read, for us, in order to read the domain, we look at it from left to right. Okay, and the range, well, the range is your y values. You look at it from bottom to top. Okay, remember that. So for the domain, we look at it from left to right. Let's look at this graph here. Take note, there's an arrowhead here. This arrowhead tells us that this is going to keep going further to the left. That's the point of having the arrowhead there. The open circle here means say it's stop over there. Okay, so our domain is really from this side and further to the left up to this portion here. And the domain is from left to right. Since this arrowhead will never stop, that is going to the infinity, to the negative infinity. And at a certain point, it will stop right there, which is on the x value, that's 4. So therefore, our domain here is from, let me erase this portion here. Our domain here is from negative infinity to 4. Take note that we always use parentheses when it involves infinity. We will always use open parentheses if it's an open circle here. If this happened to be closed, this will be a bracket. We will never use a bracket to an infinity, whether it's negative or positive. Let's go now for the range. For the range here, we look at it from bottom to top. What's the lowest portion of the graph and what's the highest portion of the graph? Again, same thing. This arrowhead, again, we're looking the range. At the range is from bottom to top. This is really going down. This is going down. And if it's going down, that's going to the negative infinity of the y. And as you keep going up there, the highest point that it will reach is right here, this point here. We don't look at the 4 because we're talking about the range, which is the y-axis, and the y value there is at 2. So the graph is from the very bottom portion, which is negative infinity, up to positive 2, which here it's an open circle there. So it's going to be open, parenthesis. And here's infinity, which is always going to be on parenthesis. So the range here would be from negative infinity to positive 2 parentheses. Again, we will only write bracket here if this was a close, but in this problem, it's open. Okay? Find the following. So we're going to evaluate f of negative 1. Negative 1 on the x-axis is right here. Now, what I suggest my student is that on the x-axis, where is the graph on negative 1? When x equal to negative 1, the graph is right there. So the value of y there is negative 1. So another way is that if you're being asked to find f of negative 1, this is the f of negative 1, draw a vertical line. If it crossed the graph, and that's the answer, it crossed right here. What is that point? That point is negative 1, negative 1. This is your x value, this is your y. So when x is negative 1, the value of y is negative 1. So the answer here is negative 1. One more time. Find f of 0. The 0 on the x is right here. And the value of the y is also 0 here because this is the origin, 0, 0. So if x is 0, the y is 0. So the answer here must be 0. Now, let's do another one here. This time, find the x when f of x equals negative 1. So this time, the f of x is equal to negative 1. That means y is equal to negative 1. So when y is negative 1, so let's look at the y-axis here. This is a negative 1. So let's draw this time a horizontal line. Did the horizontal line intersect our graph? Yes, it's right here. That point is negative 1, negative 1. This is the x, is the y. So we're looking for the x when y is negative 1. So the answer here, x equal to negative 1. Is this a function? Is this a function or not? For us to know if it's a function, we're going to use the vertical line test. Vertical line test says that if it crosses more than two or more points on the graph, that means it's not a function. Here, if I draw a vertical line across only 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, so therefore this relation is a function. So the answer is yes. Let's go to the next problem here. So I have here a parabola, which is like a U shape. The domain here, the graph here is going to left. This go to the left, it's going to keep going. This go to the right, keeps going there. So I know that this is from negative infinity to positive infinity, parenthesis. The range here is, what's the lowest point? The lowest point here is this portion, which is negative 5. And the highest point is going to keep going up there because of the arrowheads here. So the range here is from negative 5 to the positive infinity. But although here, if you're going to look at this negative 5 here, the vertex here, this is close. That's close. How did I know? I don't see an open circle there. So this should be a bracket. And the infinity is always going to be parentheses. Find the f of 1. Again, the meaning of this one is what is the value of y when x equal to 1. So look at the 1 on the x-axis. Let me erase this one here so it looks neat. So x equals 1. The 1 is right here on the x-axis. Draw a vertical line that passed through that 1 there, and c is going to cross the graph. Yes, it did. It crossed this point here. On that point, what is that red point? 1 comma negative 4. So therefore, if x equal to 1, the value of y is equal to negative 4. So the answer here is negative 4. Okay, let's do it one more time. F of 0, 0 on the x is right here. So we're going to draw a vertical line that crosses at 0 and has to pass through the graph. Boom. That point there, that brown point. On that brown point, that is 0 comma negative 5. So the value of x there is 0. The value of y then is negative 5. So this is negative 5. Okay, very simple, right? What if you're given f of x equal to negative 1? Again, let me repeat to you, the meaning of f of x, guys, is equal to y. F of x equal to y, so therefore y is negative 1. When y is negative 1, this is the y-axis here, this is the negative 1 here, right? So I'm going to draw this time a horizontal line. Did the green horizontal line intersect the graph? Yes, it did. Over here and there. What are the points there? This first point here is negative 2 comma negative 1. And this point here is positive 2 comma negative 1. So therefore, the values of x are negative 2 and positive 2 when f of x equal to negative 1. Is the relation a function? If I draw a vertical line, it crosses only one point here. So therefore, yes, because it passed the vertical line test. It crossed only at 1 point. Next, we're given here a like a segment, and the domain here, there's no arrowheads here, so that's a good hint that we're not going to use the infinity sign. This is an open, this is a close, so the domain here is from negative 3 up to positive 3 there. So I know the domain is from negative 3 to positive 3. This is open, so I'm going to use parentheses. This is close here, so I'm going to bracket it. The range, you look from the bottom here up to the highest point. The bottom one here, this is 2, 1, so this is to be 0 then. So that's from 0, comma, to positive 2. 0 here is closed, so this will be bracket. The 2 there is parenthesis because it's open right here. Okay, very simple. Now find f of 0. So again, the meaning of this one, the value of x here is 0. So when x is 0, where's 0 on the x? Right here. So draw a vertical line and it crossed right here. So here x is 0, was the value of y is 1. So therefore the value here is 1. F of negative 3 on the x is right here. Let's delete everything here. So x is negative 3 is right here. I'm going to draw a vertical line here. Boom. Does the vertical line intersect the graph? On the illustration, yes, but mathematically it did not. Why it's not? Because this is an open circle. If you look at the graph, this is an open circle. So meaning to say it does not, the negative 3 is not part of the graph there. To make the story short, this is null set or none. It did not, okay? Next, find x when f of x or y is equal to 1. Where's the 1 on the y? Is right here. What's the point there? That is 0 comma 1, and the value of y is 1. So what's the value of x? That's the question there. So x there is equal to 0. Is this a function? When you cross the line, only 1 point, 1 point. So yes, it passed the vertical line test. Okay, last example here. So we have like a two graphs together here. Okay, so what's the domain here? Remember, guys, that this arrowhead tells us it's going to the left. This is going to the right. This is going to the left. This is going to the right. So the domain here is from negative infinity to positive infinity. We all know also the range is, you read it from the bottom to top. This going to the way bottom to the negative infinity. This going up. Same thing with this two here. So the range here is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Kaboom. Find f of negative 3. Let's delete the page, this one here. Where's f of negative 3? F of negative 3 is right here. Okay. And we know that this graph here approximately should cross like that and should extend like that. The f of negative 3 there is going to be, you're going to draw a vertical line again here. And it crosses these 2 points here. Those 2 points are negative 3, comma 2, negative 3, comma negative 2. So therefore, the values of x are, or the values of f of negative 3 are negative 2 and positive 2. Okay. Next, find f of 0. 0 is right here. This is 0 on the x. So let's draw a vertical line here. And it crosses 2 points. This point here, which is at 1, here at negative 1. So the answer here is negative 1 and 1. Okay. Find x. Sorry. Find x when f of x is equal to negative 2. So again, the meaning of that one, y is equal to negative 2. If y is negative 2 is right here, draw a horizontal line. And remember, this graph here will gonna keep going, and this one's gonna keep going. Okay. And those points are, this is definitely negative 2, that is negative 3, comma, and this is going to be negative 2 on the y, and that was 3, comma, negative 2. So therefore, the values of x are negative 3 and positive 3. And last one here, is this a function or not? If we draw a vertical line here, it crosses 2 points here. So therefore, the answer, it's not a function, not a function, because it because it fails the vertical line test. It cross twice. Okay. There you go. I hope you learned something on finding the domain and range, identifying if it's function or not, and evaluating the function